And we are live. Hey guys, welcome to episode 50 of the Superherocuts podcast. It's your boy Stevie Hayes, joined by Comic Cuts. Man, 50 episodes, bro. 50 episodes. Isn't that crazy?
That is crazy, bro. 50. We really
Oh
do. We,
goodness.
we really do this thing.
Yeah, man. This was our first year together doing the
Yeah.
podcast. So it's been a great year, man. And I mean, we are going to do a year end review in 2 weeks where we're just going to kind of talk about the channel, what our plans are for 2024 and all that stuff. But man, 50 episodes, bro.
Yeah. Bro,
Crazy.
it's crazy that like our timeline lines up with the calendar year.
Yeah. And
That's
it's
pretty
so
fucking
hilarious
dope.
how how we first met. We first met
Yeah.
from me trolling you and because you
Yeah.
try to correct me and then I says I got smart with you and then that spewed this whole
Yeah.
crazy friendship. It's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. It is. It's fucking awesome, man.
It is. It is.
Um,
So yeah, 50
Dude, such
episodes,
a cool
bro.
story.
Facts.
Yeah.
And I can't wait till we get to 100. I'm hyped for that
Me
100,
too.
bro.
Me too.
So
Even more so though, the I feel like the 104 is going to be better just because that's going to mark the 2 year, the two
hey,
year
the
mark.
what? The 100?
The 104th, because
Oh
52
yeah.
weeks. Yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah, dude. Facts, bro. I'm just posting that we're live on Instagram. I'll tag you in it cuts too as
Okay,
well.
cool.
Hold on. Gotta put this to Instagram. We are live. Exclamation points. YouTube link. I
Bro,
am
you
in.
know what I was thinking?
What's up, bro?
Like, I am going to make it a thing that when I go on Twitter, I am just not going to engage with Snyder Cult fans because
Oh yeah, I've given up on that one.
now, like, if anyone were to follow me on Twitter over the past like week, all you would think like I'm just some guy that goes on Twitter to mess with these. But the thing is, they come up on my feed, and it's just like you people are so. It's like unbelievable how dedicated they are to hating on James Gunn. It's like and it's so aggravating. It's like they wake up in the morning, and the first thing like, uh, oh, time to hate on James Gunn.
Right?
Like grow up.
Did you see me cook that dude earlier?
No, oh man, I got
Or
that.
no, talking about the female characters on Twitter, and I listed
Oh,
them
I
all
think I
saying that they
did.
hold no weight.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
we are definitely gonna talk about that towards the end of the
I
episode
think
when
I
we talk about
did.
some Jonathan Major stuff. But
Yeah,
all
I
right,
think I
guys.
liked it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you did. All right.
Yeah.
So we are going to get into today. So we have a nice docket. Nothing is not as long as we've done. I know we've gone like almost 2 hours the past 2 weeks. Comic Cuts is sick, guys. So I did make the docket shorter because he needs to heal up. So
Nice.
it isn't as long as it usually is. But we're going to go right into it right now.
My
So
first time having COVID, by the way. Never had COVID
yes, his
before.
first time having the vid. So I hope you feel better, my brother. But
Nice.
so what has happened in this whole Spider-Man thing is that the Game Awards was last week. Christopher Judge, the guy that voices Kratos, threw shots at Call of Duty, which was hilarious. Love that. Saying that like the campaign joke was hilarious. And so a lot of people were expecting Spider-Man to win awards because the video game was very popular. Fans were super excited, but Spider-Man took home no gold. Okay. And so Comic Cuts, I know you wanted to jump on this really really hard, so you tackle it, and I'll give my 2 cents after you, man. Floor is yours.
So we're gonna start in 2018. Spider-Man PS4 comes out. You know, at the time, like I personally wasn't expecting much from it. I was like, pretty dope. We're getting a Spider-Man game. Hope it's good. Came out, and as much fun as the game was, that game took a lot from the Arkham series. The combat wheel, straight out of Arkham, it didn't really get ridiculed for it because it worked and it was like something new for Spider-Man. Miles Morales came out. It was kind of whack that it was 6 hours of gameplay length. People didn't really complain, which is kind of odd because $50 for a 6-hour game was crazy, but whatever. I think it got away with it because it was a PS5 launch game. We were all excited about getting the PS5, and now Spider-Man 2 launched with a number of different circumstances, mainly being that you get to play as both Peter and Miles. The swinging was updated, but above all, this game had hype like no other. I mean, people were going off on social media for this game for like it was basically like all year. Every day, like people would not stop talking about how excited they were for Spider-Man 2, myself included. And when the game finally came out, I think that the one thing that they really did a good job with was updating the traversal. The traversal was awesome. The swinging, the web wings, the slingshot, all that kind of stuff. But what they didn't do, they did not update uh, the combat. And I really noticed this. My first player, I played through the story once, and as I did, I thought the story was fine until the third act. The third act was so bad that I think it ruined the story for me for the whole game. Especially when Scream came about, it was almost like they got so redundant with everyone having their moment with the symbiote to the fact that MJ turned into Scream and you even fought MJ. I mean, that just felt like really silly. Like there's certain things that happen in stories and it just makes you think that the people writing it are just not talented writers, and that was one of them. Um, and what I noticed was also, because like my first playthrough, um, I really played through it for the story. But when I went to go play it a second time, I really noticed that the combat wasn't even fun. It was like so redundant and repetitive. And, you know, I think this game got so many nominations because the Game Awards, it's all based on votes. So it's based on the gaming community. Um, and don't get me wrong, I don't think Baldur's Gate 3 deserved Game of the Year. I'm sorry, but no turn-based combat game deserves Game of the Year. That's crazy. Um, but you know, I, I I'm hoping that this pushes Insomniac to be more innovative with their next games. My big concern is that they are not as innovative as they should be, and that's going to be reflected in Wolverine. When I think of a Wolverine game, I think of some serious innovation on the combat. You know, but what I'm thinking we're going to get is very God of War inspired combat, which, listen, similar to Spider-Man for PS4, like it could work, but it would reflect a bigger problem at Insomniac that they're not capable of innovating themselves and they are just looking to the best of the best and they're copying and pasting what those guys are doing. So I would like to see Insomniac do something inventive and innovative with Wolverine's combat. Because don't get me wrong, if Wolverine combat is similar to God of War, we're going to be in for an awesome game. God of War combat is probably the best combat in a melee style action game. Uh, but I do think God, Insomniac has to put their own spin on combat, and they can't just keep biting other people because they did that with Spider-Man 2018, Miles Morales, and it just didn't work in Spider-Man 2, and it's just crazy how hyped that game was and how much it really just did not meet the moment. And it's the first Spider-Man project in a very long time that came out that uh wasn't met with full praise because everything Spider-Man, it comes out, people love it, everyone's hyped. And this was the first time I think it took people, myself included, some time to be able to be like, wait, this thing really isn't that good. Like it was surprising. So yeah, that's what I got.
Yeah, man. I also agree. Also, just want to talk about this, bro. Andre Braugher just passed away, dude. He was in the Fantastic Four. Remember? He was the army guy in Rise of the Silver Surfer. It's crazy, man.
Oh, damn.
R.I.P. to that man, dude. Jeez,
Oh, he's in
sucks.
Brooklyn Nine-Nine too. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Oh
R.I.P.
man,
to that
that's
man.
bad.
Yeah, man,
Yeah.
sucks. But yeah. So where I'm at with the Spider-Man game, bro, personally, is like like the game was fun when it first started, but I mean, we got to be honest about it, and for me personally, like I am not a gamer, so
Yeah.
I enjoyed it also, and because obviously Matthew Oler, who's a gamer, Matt, he
Yeah.
obviously trashed Spider-Man 2, and he hated it, and from his perspective he was saying because he felt like Spider-Man didn't break any new ground. He was like, it's
Yeah.
literally the same
Right.
game as the other two, and he felt like the story was written really bad and it was weak, and I didn't really understand him because as I said, I'm not into games like that, so like as a
Yeah,
fan I
yeah.
wasn't really like but Matt kind of went more into it and stuff like that, and him and I kind of like had a lot of comments about it, and kind of playing it, the game is good, but it's like it seems like Insomniac kind of just use their engine, I guess, to make it good. It's not like
Mm.
yes, there were new additions like Venom and all that stuff. For me, the biggest con to the Spider-Man 2 game is that after you beat the game, there's nothing else to do. Like after you beat the game, all you can do is swing around. And
I
to
think well,
me,
there's
it's
side missions.
yeah, but like once you do them all, that's it.
Right,
And
right,
for
right.
the rest of the thing, you're just
Well,
solving crime and
that's how most games are though. Like
yes, but you feel but like even for Spider-Man 1, I'm pretty sure the Spider-Man 1 game, which is revolutionary, literally like was way longer than this one. And because to me the story fell
yeah, it
short.
wasn't
And
long.
yeah, the story wasn't long, and then on top of that, like it just wasn't like the game just wasn't hitting after a certain point. And for me, like I kind of got annoyed after I got, and this sounds crazy, after I got the anti symbiote suit, I kind of stopped having fun with the game, to be
Yeah.
honest with you. And that's probably the best part of the game because you're like the most powerful. So
Yeah, the
I really,
symbiote suit was the best part, for sure.
yeah, I also wasn't the biggest fan of how when you fought the bosses you had to beat them like 3 times. That was pretty annoying because you're literally just spamming the same moves every time for each battle
Yeah,
you know
yeah,
so
it wasn't like the three different sections of the fight were that different to justify it. And what's really interesting is, and again, I, you know, I have a lot of problems with award shows. Listen, I think the Oscars and the Grammys are, completely fake. And I think that has more to do with the agendas of the Academy. And I'm not just talking political agendas. I mean, like, their own preferences and stuff. Like, I don't think they're real. That's why Jay-Z and Kanye West don't go to the Grammys. I think they started to again, at least Jay-Z, but they didn't for a really long time. Um, you know, but those award shows aren't based on the fans. And the game awards it's all based on our votes. And I think like anything, there's pros and cons to that. The cons are games like Baldur's Gate 3 won game of the year. The other thing, I think there's two games that got snubbed. Um, and I definitely prefer one to the other on this, but I think both of them are better than Spider-Man 2, are Jedi Survivor and Hogwarts Legacy. In my opinion, Jedi Survivor was by far the game of the year of the past year. I mean, that game felt like such a step above Jedi Fallen Order. The traversal was better, the combat was better. Um, you know, but the game of the year over the past couple of years, like, I mean, game of the year, they've all been bad. Like, a lot of them are just not good games. Like, I just don't understand it. What the hell is going on here?
I agree, man. I agree. And for me personally, bro, like as I said, I kind of wanted what's called the win. And I might be biased, but Hogwarts Legacy was my favorite game that I played
That's
this
a
year.
fair take. That's a fair take. It's a great game. I didn't finish it, so I still got to pick it back up. It's a great game. The combat is amazing, and it. By the way, the combat in Hogwarts Legacy is like something we've never seen before. They literally had to invent something entirely new, and a lot of people love the game. I also think that there might be a political agenda of not, centering that game, and maybe they did do something behind the scenes there, because they tried to say that you're hateful if you buy the game or something.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
remember
So
that was a big push. And a
yeah,
lot of people, held that opinion on Twitter for a really long time. And they were like, if you want to play this game, like you're a bad person. And it's crazy, you
yeah.
know?
So yeah, man. I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, look, I think that Spider-Man didn't deserve the award, to be honest with you. And Insomniac kind of shot themselves in the foot, because I mean, they had the hype to be like the great, one of the most generational games of all time. And I don't put this game over Arkham Knight. I do think to me, the whole entire Arkham series is untouched. Nothing will ever top what the Arkham series did.
I
And
think Arkham Knight is the greatest superhero video game of all time.
see, I'm more of an Arkham Origins guy, but I do think
But
that
here,
the whole game is great.
I
I mean,
think here's the thing, and listen, I get it. You have your preference, but when you're talking about the best, you have to take innovation into that context. And Arkham Knight being the latest version, the latest Arkham game for PS4 and Xbox One, I just think naturally it's going to be better than everything that came before it.
yeah, I mean, if we're talking customization, but as in story, I think the earlier Arkham games are better. But but
That's fair. I
but
like the
yeah,
story.
but no, I love Arkham Knight. I mean, like I love Arkham Knight. I play that game. I beat that game 1,000 times. But I'm just saying,
Yeah,
like in
me
regards
too.
to like my favorite story that I just remember, like Arkham Asylum and Arkham Origins are just like peak for me. But yeah, and like those games to me, bro, are just untouchable games. I think that's as good as it gets. You know what I mean? So yeah, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at about Spider-Man. Like Spider-Man was good, but it wasn't what it could have been. But let's go into some MCU business. So there has been 3 shows that have been announced for Disney Plus, and we are talking about all animated shows. So I want to name these 3. Obviously, the first one is X-Men 97. We talked about that last week, but I want to talk about 2 new ones that were mentioned, which is a Spider-Man animated show called Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. It was formerly called Spider-Man Freshman Year, which is about Tom Holland Spider-Man. Tom Holland was going to be voicing it. I don't think he is anymore. And then the second show,
I
which
don't
I'm
think
very
he was ever going to
surprised.
be voicing it. I think that was assumed, but I don't think he was ever
Oh,
confirmed to be voicing it.
I thought he was
Yeah.
going to be voicing him. And then the
Nah,
second
nah.
show is called Eyes of Wakanda. So this show is about the past Black Panther warriors. And I do want to talk about that before we get into Spider-Man Freshman Year. I am very excited for this Eyes of Wakanda show because this is going to be touching on all the past Black Panthers. So I will be really excited to see a story about T'Challa in this, to see a story about T'Challa's dad and then T'Challa's father's father, and I think it's super dope to be touching on the past Black Panther. And can I tell you what I believe that this show is going to do? I think this show is really going to separate itself from Shuri becoming the Black. Uh, I think this might be not a correction, but it's going to maybe separate. They're going to try to use this show to separate fans from the idea of Shuri ever becoming BP.
You know, I hope so. And listen, I think the show is probably going to be awesome. great move by Marvel to introduce an entry that will, expose Wakanda lore to fans, you know, but it's also sad. It's like sad that we need an animated show to do that because Wakanda Forever failed to deliver.
Yeah. And I would also be hyped if they use the what if animation style for the show.
Ooh, that would be cool. That would be cool.
And I'm so hyped for the what if, bro. I can't wait for it to come out. It's gonna be
Oh, I
super awesome.
can't wait.
It comes out next
Oh,
week, right?
yo, nah, no way.
Or does it
I
come
think
out
it's the
Christmas week?
I think it's the 21st.
So that's
So that
next
is
week.
next week. Yeah, yeah.
And Aquaman's next week. Oh man, we got a big episode planned for you guys for Aquaman next week.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, Comic Cuts and I are both excited about this Black Panther show. We both think it's gonna be super awesome. I'm really excited for it. As I said, I am really hyped to see stories about the old Black Panther. I think another thing I would love to see, which might not be possible, what if Namor interacted with T'Challa's grandfather in the past? What if bro, what if we get a
Mm,
story of like T'Challa's great grandfather fighting like Namor? Because Namor's lived for a long time. It's like stuff
yeah,
like that I
yeah,
think would be super awesome. And if they do that, then they're really trying to separate Shuri from being the Black Panther, like on everything. And that would be insane to see.
yeah. I just think it. Listen, if this show takes place within the MCU, because Spider-Man freshman year is not an MCU timeline show. They've already confirmed that.
It's not
So
it's not a so it's not canon.
correct, it's not canon.
Dang, that sucks.
Um, yeah. So X-Men 97 isn't canon. Spider-Man freshman year or what's it called? Whatever it's called
Your
is
friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
friendly. By the way, I think that's an L on the name change.
Yeah,
Freshman
I
year is
really
not
liked
so much
freshman
better.
year. I thought that was
Me
awesome.
too. Like awesome. Um, so two of the three that we know aren't within the MCU canon, and so it's good chances that it's and in the MCU canon. Remember, Namor like introduced himself, so I don't think, and they didn't mention any past history. So if it is MCU canon, I don't see there being a past history there because I think that would have been touched upon in Wakanda Forever.
Who knows, man? What if like
Yeah,
T'Chaka hid it away?
right. They could, yeah, and listen, there's plenty of ways to write that in. So for sure.
Would have been fire if Namor went with Shuri. It was like I've already talked to your great grand. I think like I've already battled your ancestors or something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
That would be literally insane. But yeah. So now let's go now let's talk about Spider-Man freshman year, man. Um, or Spider-Man or your friendly neighbor. You just talked about the I'm really pissed that they changed the name. I really like the name, the title of Spider-Man freshman year. Um,
Yeah.
and and for some reason, why would they say it's not canon if the picture is literally the Spider-Man suit from Spider-Man Homecoming? That's confusing to me.
Yeah, and like, why not make it canon? Does the name freshman year implies that you're gonna tell the Spider-Man story that we didn't get, like the pre-Homecoming Spider-Man story. It was like we were getting a prequel.
I'm reading the article now to see if it's yeah, like this should be canon to flesh out like more of Peter Parker as a character when he first got his powers, and whether if they say it's canon or not, that's how I'm going to see the show. I'm going to think of it as Tom Holland's passing when he first got his powers.
Yeah, yeah.
Because if he's wearing the costume, like if they say like if they're really going with this not canon stuff and he wore the costume, that's actually going to really piss me off. I'm not gonna lie. Like I am personally on the side of like let's just make this thing canon because I mean the MCU needs anything right
I
now. They need to
wonder.
make anything canon.
I question if there are maybe some contract stipulations on why they can't do a canon prequel. Like maybe they promised Tom Holland, you know, hey, if you're going to sign on to the Spider-Man, it's not going to be an origin story. We're never going to tell an origin story, or something like that. And they made promises to get that movie done. And in those promises, there was no origin story being retconned. And in doing that, they had to make this one. I don't know.
But doesn't Disney own all the animation rights for Spider-Man? I'm pretty sure
Yeah,
that they do
just
because
but if they write it in the contract that they're not going to do it, like even if they own the rights, they still
yeah.
forfeit their legal rights.
My guess would also be if Tom Holland is a part of it, that means that he will be breaking maybe some Sony guidelines. So maybe going not canon is a thing. But so I mean I am hyped for both shows, and obviously X-Men 97. Can't wait to cover that show. That's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
So should probably about that. Now, okay. Now let's get into Mr. Zachary Levi, man. Okay, I really want to talk this because I can't stand. Now, you guys know from the Shazam review, I despise Zachary Levi. I do not like this man as an actor. And we were on I was on Rome Book Geeks show. And Comic Cuts was there too. And we were trashing Zachary Levi the whole time. I think Zachary Levi is literally one of the worst actors of all time. So Zachary Levi was in an interview, and basically what ended up happening was this week, James Gunn brother Sean Gunn has been announced to play a live action role in the DCU. Actually, a lot of fans weren't really happy about that because Sean Gunn is playing he's voicing an animated character as well, and a lot of fans were like, James Gunn, you said that you said that actors weren't going to play more than one role. But so when he was asked about Sean Gunn getting 2 new roles in James Gunn's DCU, Mr. Petty Zachary Levi responded, "When you're the brother of the guy who runs DC, I guess what you want." Sorry. I'm going to reread that one more time. It says, "When you're the brother of the guy who runs DC, I guess you get to play what you want." And he said it in a very sarcastic tone. So, all right. Zachary Levi, I hope you click on this video right now and listen to me clear. You're one of the worst actors to grace TV that I've ever seen in my entire lifetime of being a human being on this earth. When they announced you as Shazam, I was very upset because I never liked your acting from the beginning. You were the cringiest Shazam. You were so bad at Shazam that the little boy played Shazam better than you. You literally were so bad in Shazam 2 and even in Shazam 1, which I think Shazam 1 was all right. Shazam 1, you just never played the role well. And you act like Shazam grossed $1 billion. If Shazam grossed $1 billion like Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman, one of the only people that have the right to talk their talk is Gal Gadot. You know why? Because Wonder Woman did the numbers. Jason Momoa has the cojones to talk. You know why? Because Aquaman did $1 billion. Shazam, if I'm correct, only did about 360 something million, which was profitable for you guys. But it isn't like Shazam is $1 billion IP. It is not. And it's even proven by Black Adam that underperformed with the biggest actor in the world, as in The Rock. So I don't know where you get this cockiness from, Mr. Zachary Levi, but I mean, at the end of the day, bro, no one wants you back as Shazam. And you just got to take that to the chin and move on, man, and try to resurge your career. Because I mean, Zachary Levi has been in a lot of projects, but his career has never really taken off. And he had the chance to do that with Shazam, and I think he had the chance to do a good job, definitely in Shazam 2. And I think he smoked that. I mean, I think he really ruined his own chances of, being used not just in the DCU, but like Zachary Levi could be used in Star Wars. He could be used in Lord of the Rings. He could be used in Game of Thrones. He could be used in Marvel. Like there could be a place for him if he actually was a good actor. So hey man, that's on you.
Zachary Levi, I don't necessarily think you're a bad actor. I don't think you killed it in Shazam. I thought Shazam 1, you did an okay job. Shazam 2, definitely not. But here's the thing. What I think was what happened is that I think Zachary Levi made it known to James Gunn that he wanted to play. Hold on, let me make sure my audio is right. Oh shit!
Could you hear me?
Yep, I hear you.
So I think Zachary Levi made it known to James Gunn that he wanted to play Shazam in the DCU. I think James Gunn probably said, he either didn't say anything or, responded and said, no thanks. And then Zachary Levi probably said something along the lines of, I hope there's a, role for me in the DCU. I'd love to work with you. Yeah. And James Gunn probably was like, didn't respond or let it be known, not interested. And I think Zachary Levi is retaliating like a child. I mean, this is like, if you didn't land a client and, you didn't like something a client did and you went out publicly and made a statement against them. Like, this is so childish. And whether I'm right or not, say I am right and my theory is correct. You think Marvel, Star Wars, or even like the MonsterVerse, like any of these franchises that you want to work with, are going to see a statement like this and they're going to be like, yeah, you know what? He's right about James Gunn. Let's hire him. Even if they think you are right, they're just going to be like, that is so unprofessional. Like, I do not want to work with that guy. What happens if we have a falling out and he's just going to make a statement like that? Absolutely not. We'll find someone else to do the part.
I agree. And I mean, he's throwing shots at The Rock. He's throwing shots at James Gunn. It's like, bro, like, you're throwing shots at people that are powerful, people that determine your job. So, like, and even when I saw The Rock sitting next to Zachary Levi, I'm like, this dude's not Shazam. I'm sorry, bro. Shazam, and like, he didn't work out to get, like, he wasn't even husky enough. I mean, he looked old. He looked too old to play Shazam. He just wasn't Shazam for me. Like, even just as by looks of the character, he never was Shazam.
You know who he reminds me of? Is Ray Fisher.
Why?
Because I feel like Ray Fisher had a falling out with Warner Brothers, and he was like very vocal about it, and he was the only one that had certain complaints that no one else did. And I just think, listen, if he was right and what he said happened to him was terrible, yeah, but it was kind of odd to me that he was the only one that that had those complaints. And I just think that, like, listen, you work in like, Hollywood's different because it's a very public industry. It's like everyone's watching everything you're doing. But if you have a bad experience with someone, or like you have something negative to say about someone, like, it's a pretty bad thing to do, to be like that public about it. I guess Ray Fisher had a very different type of complaint. But I don't know. It just seems to me that, like, he was upset and,
I mean, even think about Cavill. Like, when Cavill got canned, he didn't go on Instagram or whatever and trash James Gunn.
That's my point.
He moved on, signed to Warhammer 40K, and he's doing his own thing over there. Like, and he has a bunch of other projects that he could be doing. And Zachary Levi just complains about everything, man. That's the issue, man. I mean, not James Gunn. Zachary Levi just complains about everything. So, whatever happens to him is warranted. And at this point, bro, like, you're never coming back, and I'm happy about that because I don't really like you as an actor. So, bye.
I want to clarify, though, on my point about Ray Fisher. I just think Ray Fisher was very public, and I think the thing about Zachary Levi's statement is, like, Zachary Levi probably thought for a while before making a statement like this, and he saw a lot of people on social media saying exactly what he said. And I think that both him and Ray Fisher are exploiting a lot of toxic fan talk online to attack other professionals in their industry, and I think that's a horrible thing to do.
Yep. Also, Ray Fisher kept bringing it up every single second. That's what actually
That's
Levi's
what,
doing, which
yeah,
is getting super annoying. Like,
right.
how many times you going to say it, dog? Like, for real. You know what I mean? So,
And
all right.
by the way, if it weren't for Zack Snyder, like Ray Fisher, after what he did, he would have trouble finding work.
Yep.
That's the truth.
All right. Next up on the docket, James Gunn confirms Nicholas Hoult as Lex Luthor. So, I think we talked about this 2 weeks ago, but James Gunn finally got around to confirm it. How do you feel about James Gunn posting and confirming that Nicholas Hoult is playing Lex?
I thought that was awesome. Like, it's funny because I saw a lot of people who are like, "Oh, James Gunn's posting it." I knew. But James Gunn can't be excited about finding Lex Luthor. Like, give me a fucking break. You know, like seriously, that's what you're offended by. But yeah, Nicholas Hoult, by the way, like that dude strikes me as just a good fucking dude. So I'm happy for him. I think it's awesome that James Gunn confirmed it. I think Nicholas Holt's going to do a phenomenal job. And yeah, that's what I got.
Yeah, I mean, this is the first experience where we've had the director being active on social media during the process. So it's
Yeah.
been fun seeing James Gunn kind of like give us updates and say, "Look, this rumor is not true." Like it's been the first time we've had that experience, but with where the director is literally responding to leakers and saying like, "You're wrong, you're right, you're right, you're wrong." So I'm really like happy that James Gunn seems happy while doing this project. Like, yes, he loved Guardians, but this is I feel like for him is a deeper feel, mostly because this movie's connected. It's kind of a tribute to his dad. So I can't wait to see this movie. And I think Nicholas Hoult is a great actor, seems like a great guy. And these are the type of people that you want to build your universe around, that you want to, for the next 10 years, like Nicholas Holt's one of those guys. So I'm really happy that he's, doing the role, and I think he's going to kill it. And Nicholas Hoult, man, time to shave that head, my brother. Time to shave it off. Time to go bald.
Yeah.
So, yeah, time to let that good hair go. So,
Yeah.
really excited about that. All right. So we got some Daredevil news. I want to read it off to you. What Vince D'Onofrio said. So this is coming from the man himself, Vince D'Onofrio. He says that Daredevil Born Again has the same tone as Echo, and this is what he says: the attention that the big bosses are giving to it is extraordinary. Charlie and I are just amazed by how much they care about this series. Okay, so first off, I want to talk about Vincent D'Onofrio. I am about to be bald soon, and let me tell you, I'm
Me
going to
too.
Turkey. I'm flying straight to Turkey to get my hair done. But anyways, so I love Vince D'Onofrio. I think he's a great actor, and him as Kingpin is generational acting. I mean, he was amazing in the Daredevil show. Now I think a lot of fans are taking it wrong by the tone. Echo is a really dark tone, and I do think that Daredevil is going to use that same style of film. It's obviously going to be different in a lot of ways, but I do get what he's saying when he says that they're going to use a dark tone like the Echo show. And I am just happy about where the Daredevil show is, about how they have people that actually care about the content, that are writing it, and that Charlie and Vince D'Onofrio are kind of like in tandem with the directors. I'm happy about that. And Vince D'Onofrio, like, I always like listen to his interviews and read his stuff, and I don't know if like you read him a lot, but Vincent D'Onofrio seems like he understands understands this stuff. It's like it seems like he really knows what he's talking about whenever he's talking about comic book films when it comes to Daredevil and Kingpin.
Yeah, I think he probably just did his homework. Like he probably read a lot of comics, and by the way, it obviously paid off for him because he's a guy that Marvel used for their Netflix shows. They're keeping him as Kingpin in the MCU, and people just want to see more of him. So it goes to show that doing your homework and doing your due diligence on your characters pays off. So, maybe Zachary Levi can take note.
Yeah, right. So yeah, I mean, and obviously Charlie Cox is more quiet. Like he's kind of more chill and laid back. But like, I think Vincent is a good spokesperson for the Daredevil show, and I think he's bringing good press to it. So we understand what you say when when you're saying that it's the same tone as Echo. We know that it's not going to be the same plot, but we get what you're saying. We're not idiots.
Yeah.
A lot of
It's gonna be
fans
great.
a lot of fans in comic cuts. What makes me annoyed is when fans take that stuff out of context and be like, "It's going to be trash." Like, come on, man. Like, you gotta come on.
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to talk about the Marvel movies coming out in 2025 because 2025 is going to be a really big year for comic book films. And obviously, Superman Legacy is coming out, which is super exciting. And obviously, we're all hyped for that. But so let's talk about these Marvel movies that are coming out. First is Captain America Brave New World, Fantastic Four, The Thunderbolts, and Blade. Comic Cuts, what is your most anticipated movie for 2025 and why?
I'd have to say Superman Legacy.
No. Oh, I was saying out of the Marvel films.
Marvel.
Sorry.
Oh,
Yeah.
Fantastic Four for sure. I think that
Why?
so much of the MCU is riding on this movie. I don't think fans really understand that yet. But whether this movie is a success or not, really, like, it's almost like if this movie doesn't succeed, I don't think the MCU will succeed going further.
Yeah, my most anticipated movie is also the Fantastic Four because I love the Fantastic Four. They're my favorite superhero team of all time.
Uh-huh.
And I grew up on the Chris Evans, Human Torch, Jessica Alba, Invisible Woman. I think both of those movies are very underrated, and those are one of my favorite movies of all time. Like I
actually watched some of it the other night.
It's so good. And Jessica Alba, I mean, come on now, you can never go wrong with that.
Yeah.
There was actually did this post, and it was like post your most iconic, beautiful actors, and I posted Jessica Alba as the Invisible Woman. It actually got like 2,000 views, which is hilarious. But I will say though, Brave New World has me hyped. I love Captain America Brave New World. I mean, I hope that movie works out. And do you think Cap could be coming back in that movie, man?
No, absolutely not.
I don't know, my brother. We'll have to see.
I just think, but if you do that, like the spotlight is gone from Sam Wilson.
We'll see what happens. But yeah, man, I am excited for Brave New World, though. I think it's going to be awesome. I can't wait to see his new suit. I know we saw press about it with like the dark blue. I think that looks awesome. I am also happy to see the Thunderbolts. I'm like, this might sound cringe, bro, but I can't wait to see U.S. Agent.
Yeah, me too. I fuck with U.S. Agent.
Yeah, Wyatt Russell is a great actor, bro.
Yeah, he is.
And so I'm hyped to see him. I'm hyped to see Yelena back. Oh, Florence Pugh all day. I'm hyped to see like just everybody, bro, like the whole squad. The only thing that I keep hearing though in regards to the Thunderbolts is that Zemo's not in it.
Yeah, I saw something on that too. By the way, you know what's so crazy to me? Like
what?
When I think about, and I'm gonna have to rewatch Falcon and the Winter Soldier, but like when that show was in the earlier side and we were watching the earlier episodes, and U.S. Agent was giving all the right answers in the interviews, and like it was almost like, wait, they're having this guy like become the new Captain America? That's like crazy. And it seemed like Marvel was hyping it up. Like they were like, this guy's great. Like, and then all of a sudden it became about Carly, and the show just went downhill.
The most fire scene was. I'm sorry.
The writing was so good in that show for so much of it, and all of a sudden it wasn't good when it was Carly, and it makes you think it's like, were the writers really talented and they knew what they were doing, and Marvel just shoved Carly in their faces and was like, write this character,
And when Battlestar died, and then U.S. Agent beat the living hell out of that dude, bro, that was one of the best scenes I've ever seen, bro.
Yeah. And with the bloody shield.
You could just see the rage. Like, the way Wyatt Russell played that, bro, was just so good. Man, I wish we were on the pod. We could have reviewed that. Oh, my goodness. That was such a good scene, bro. Such a good scene. I'm telling you, man, Disney Plus wasn't off to a bad start. It wasn't at first. I'm telling you. It wasn't. So yeah, man, we are hyped about 2025. I think, and Blade. I mean, Blade's gonna be fire. 2025 is gonna be a great year, man, for movies.
Yeah.
And you know, with Deadpool 3 getting Marvel's fans reacclimated, all four of these movies have to hit in 2025. They have to hit. And if they
Yeah.
don't, it's going to be really bad news. But I do think Blade's going to be a really big movie. I think Blade might be, bro. There's a lot of Blade fans out there, bro.
There are, and I think it'll be good. I think it's going to be a good show. I mean, good movie. You know, I listen. You know, people really like this actor, and I don't know. I wonder if he could do as good as Wesley Snipes. Wesley Snipes really killed it in that role.
Mahershala?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, he has to come from a different angle, though. That's the only thing. He can't do what was originally done.
Yeah.
Like he has to take the Robert Pattinson approach. Because don't you know how? Because you know how Pattinson, and as much as I hate Bale, he was coming behind the greatness of Christian Bale, so he had to come in a little. He had to be darker than what Christian Bale was, and that was how he. And that's how he's better. Anyways, all right. So next thing we got, guys, Star Wars, man, Rey movie update. So, so Star Wars is a lot's happening. So there's a movie about Rey that is apparently being done. And the movie is supposed to be after the sequels. She's supposed to be starting her own Jedi Order. Now, I want to talk about this because I have a few questions. Because obviously, with the Ahsoka show was really big, and the rumors that I can be hearing in regards to the Rey movie is that the Ahsoka show links to Abeloth in the end, right? We saw in the last episode of Ahsoka that Balin's skull was standing in the hands of the Father and was looking out, and a lot of people think that Balin's being called out by Abeloth, and a lot of fans are talking about that. This is going to connect to the Rey movie, saying that Rey will be dealing with Abeloth as well, and Abeloth is a crazy dark side being. Now this is how I feel about the Rey movie. I do think the Rey movie might be getting sidelined, bro, only because I got some news that the Mandalorian season 4 isn't going to be a season 4; it's going to be a movie. And because of that, I believe that they might be sidelining this Rey movie and going all in on the Mandalorian verse. Because if you think about it, right, Dave Filoni is also doing this big heir to the Empire movie with General Thrawn and Ahsoka. And I think that what Dave Filoni is doing is that he's going like that Rey movie might be pushed back and it might not even come out. That movie might be scrapped. And they might be going all in with the Ahsoka story that they have going on with General Thrawn and Luke Skywalker and the Mandalorian. And to me, I think doing that instead of the Rey movie is a really good thing, mostly because Rey is hated by so many fans. Why would you bring her back? And yes, right, Star Wars made $1 billion, but it's Star Wars and fans didn't care. We're in a different time today, man. We're in a different time because you guys got to understand we aren't in the times where you can poop out $1 billion movies anymore. It is inflation time. Fans don't want to go to just any movie. The last big successful movie that we saw that moved in droves was Barbieheimer, right? And those were totally different movies than from what we've seen with Marvel. So I think that in regards to that, man, they really have to like put this Rey movie to the side and focus on the Mandalorian movie. I think that has more potential of doing more box office than a Rey show.
It's so stupid, and it's just like it's moves like this that make me think the agenda is still strong at Disney because, bro, nobody liked Rey. Okay, like I know you did, but a lot of people didn't. I never really liked Rey. I try to sometimes say I do, but like I really didn't. I didn't think she was an interesting character. She was very vanilla, very boring, not interesting. And it's like instead of just doing something new, they're like, no, you are wrong. We're right. Rey is a good character. We're just going to make a new thing with Rey, and you'll see that we're right. And we're just like, but we didn't like Rey. We're like, no, you'll like her this time. Trust us. Like, we saw 3 movies of Rey, and we didn't like her. We don't need a 4th. Like, drop it. And
I agree.
It's almost insulting.
I agree. And and when you have a studio, you got to listen to your fans. And it seems like they're not really listening to fans anymore. So, but as I said, There are good
That's right.
characters in the
I think you might
sequels.
have said it, but is Filoni doing this Ray movie?
No, but Filoni is kind of in charge of the creativity of it, and he's in a role where like he's in the process hard on anything. But this just happened, so the Ray movie was before he came into
Right.
leadership. But
If I were him,
so
I would be like, listen, I'm happy to take over here. I want nothing to do with this Ray movie.
yeah.
You know,
So
because
that's what I think it is because and this is what the Den of Nerds was saying a while ago. He was saying that Lucasfilm's like Lucasfilm presses Catherine for a Star Wars film, and she's due. The studio is due to have a Star Wars film come out. The last time we got a Star Wars film was Star Wars. Was it the not the Last Jedi? Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker. That was the last, and that was like almost 6 years ago.
That movie was so corny.
Yeah, and they're literally been and the rumors that they've been pressing Catherine to get out of the movie, and the reality is that a Ray movie is probably still in development. Not even on the stages of casting. But if you do a Mando movie, the script's probably already been written. Jon Favreau is so good that he can form it into a movie. Yeah, Favreau doing the action. Dave Filoni working on the writing with Favreau. I think that could be a fire movie. I mean, I ain't gonna lie. I mean, and that's probably the smartest route to go instead of doing a Ray movie. And yes, Mandalorian season 3 didn't do good in numbers, but I think that if it's done right, if you put the progression of Grogu, if you do all that stuff right, it'll be fine. And then if you include Luke Skywalker and Ahsoka and all that stuff, man, fans will come.
Yeah,
fans will come. So all right, so we're going to end the episode early, but before we do that, we're going to talk about some Jonathan Major stuff. We wanted to fill you guys in on what's going on with Jonathan because obviously Jonathan Majors is Kang the Conqueror. He has the biggest role in comic book movies. So I really wanted to touch on that. So Comic Cuts, I'm going to give you the floor to break down what's going on. And give your viewpoint, opinion, all that stuff.
So, all right, we're going to go through a couple of text messages that came out in regards to Jonathan Majors and Grace Jabari. I'm going to read through them. Jonathan Majors, they will ask you questions, and as I don't think you actually protect us, it could lead to investigation, even if you do lie and they suspect something. Grace Jabari, I will tell the doctor I bumped my head if I go. I'm going to give it one more day, but I can't sleep and I need some stronger painkillers. That's all. Why would I tell them what really happened when it's clear I want to be with you? Jonathan Majors, last night I considered killing myself versus coming home. I need love too, or maybe I'm such a monster and horrible man, I don't deserve it. And I should just kill myself. In this way, my existence is miserable. I want to die. Now, these texts were read in court, okay? Now, here's the thing. I think that up until this point, a lot of this has reflected poorly on the girlfriend, Grace. Like, her going out after, claiming she was hurt and all that. And now it's like, the text pretty much suggest that Jonathan Majors was telling her not to go to the police because they're going to think that, or not to go to the hospital because they're going to think that he hit her. So it looks really bad on him. I mean, the allegation is that he hit her. And now the allegation is, sorry, I don't mean to laugh, but it's just like, it's so egregious. It's like the allegation is that he's telling her, don't go to the hospital and get treated for your pain because it's going to make me look bad. And it's just like, oh man, that is so bad. I mean, those texts on their own, and like those texts on their own are not Disney publicity approved. That text on its own is enough to get almost anyone fired from any job. That text alone makes me think that they're going to drop Jonathan Majors. That text is so bad. I mean, so bad. Even if he is proved innocent, and even if they do prove Jonathan Majors never touched the girl, him telling her not to go to the hospital to get treated for her injury because it's going to look bad on him is so bad. Like, such a bad look. And it's what makes me think I think it's a wrap for Jonathan Majors. And listen, these aren't alleged. Like, these texts were read in court, okay? So it's not like some rumor or something, like that. These are verified texts. They don't get read in court unless they're verified to you.
I 100% agree. Regardless if Jonathan Majors is guilty or not, I think he's going to lose this job as King the Conqueror, because even if he beats the case, it's the publicity, it's what people think about you. That's the real currency in the world, is what people think about you. I mean, when you're a celebrity, you live and die by the opinions of others. And given from the text with the "I want you to be like Coretta Scott King" and all that stuff, I mean, it doesn't work well with him. And the reality is, and as I said, at least from what it seems, we just have to see more information, but it seems like Jonathan Majors isn't going to come out of this really good. And I'm not saying that he hit her or nothing like that, because we don't know what actually happened.
Right.
Because I do think that some of the questions that she was being asked, she seemed like she was dodging a little bit. And I really don't think he hit her, just being real. From my viewpoint of looking at the evidence.
I don't either.
Yeah.
And
she
by
definitely
the way,
is stretching it.
I understand, there being some concern, that it might look poorly on him, but you can't tell a woman not to go to the hospital over that. Yeah. Number one,
he seems like a scumbag. I'll be honest.
Exactly. It makes him look like an absolute scumbag, and there is no chance in hell that Disney sees this and is like, you know what, we could put out another Marvel movie with him. And that's the problem. That's the problem. And the Coretta Scott King thing. Here's the other thing, by the way. I want to make a point.
Go ahead.
I don't think that this court case, I think for a while, this court case was I think this was a showdown of who's going to win positive publicity and who's going to win negative publicity. I think it's very obvious that both of them are shitty people. Actually, I don't know. I can't say I forget everything that happened with the woman, Grace Jabari, so maybe I'm wrong there. But I think it's very possible both of them are going to come out of this with their reputations completely in the trash and have to withdraw from Hollywood.
Oh yeah, Majors, the bag that he had, that's gone. He had the chance to do something that was different, and he ruined it. I mean, he legit ruined it. So, I think that Majors is done as king, given what's happened. And we are both saying that we think that we both think he's going to win the case. I mean, just be real. Both of us think that. But the reality is that given the stuff that he's done, man, it just doesn't look good. So
yeah,
that's kind of where we are.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, he prioritized his reputation over her health, and that's the kind of thing you just don't come back from.
Yeah, and even though he did call the cops because she was unconscious and stuff, the textures the optics just don't look good in that, bro. So so that's where we're at with Jonathan Majors. We'll keep you guys updated as the case goes on, obviously. But look, guys, on a happier note, I can't wait next week, guys. We're gonna be talking Aquaman. What if? It's gonna be a good week for content next week.
Yeah.
So please do me a favor, guys. Please like, subscribe, and ring the notification bell so you know when we post. We love you guys and have a good night. Peace out.